hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. And a big thank you to Jeff Sublett for joining us for this episode of Matchday Sessions. Jeff is our QA on the cards distribution side. Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you guys doing?
Yes, very, very good. Thank you. Sorry, I should have said as well. Joanne is also here. Joanne, how are you doing?
It's fine, Sean. I don't mind. No, great. Really excited to talk cards with you again.
And we were just saying before that this is probably the widest scope we've covered in terms of distance on a matchday session. So I have myself based in Manchester. Joanne, you're currently in Bali, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Kuta Valley.
Nice.
Yes,
And Jeff,
beautiful spot.
you're in Austin. That's
Yeah,
right in the
yeah,
US?
correct. 9 a.m. in the morning here in Austin.
So it's 9 a.m. for you. It's 3 p.m. for me. What time is it for you at the moment, Joanne?
It's 10:05 p.m.
Wow, there you go. So we really are the global friends here, and what a fitting thing that we're covering the international tournament that is the Women's World Cup. Seamlessly done there, that segue. So, Jeff, yeah, you've been working a lot on creating the Women's World Cup cards. So I imagine it's been a very, very busy time for you lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's an exceptionally busy time, but equally as exciting, not only, for me and really the whole match day team, but I know the fans are super excited as well.
Now, I know you can't go into like a huge amount of detail because we have to keep some mystery of how we do.
hmm
But there are a lot of challenges that come with a new card release every time, right? And I guess this is no
Sure.
exception.
Yeah, there's a few that certainly, every time they come up, and one of which is just so which players do you use? So in a normal, club season, you probably know about 80% of the players that are under contract that are going to be on the team, but there's transfer window and rumors and all those sort of things that you don't find out till right before the season in some cases to get your final roster. And the World Cup is no different. We know which, first of all, you have to see which teams are going to make the World Cup. So we luckily know that in advance. And then you know which players have been getting caps on the national team leading up to it in friendlies. And then as you get closer to time, um, the coaches are nice enough to give us some preliminary rosters that maybe get down to 30 in some cases or 25 in other nations. But it really isn't until July 9th that teams have to submit their final 23 woman roster. So we're sort of waiting uh, towards the end to see exactly which women are going to make it to, make the squad. So that's one part that's, exciting for everybody. A second one is probably, in the card making business, we like to give the stats and the names and everything on the card. Player positions on the card too. It's an interesting one in that just because you play one position on your club team doesn't mean you necessarily play that same position on the World Cup squad. So
Mm-hmm.
an example, from my own country, like Crystal Dunn is one of our amazing defenders for the national team, but she plays often midfielder in NWSL. So we sort of have to make a call for like, well, because this is a World Cup edition card, let's go ahead and use the position that's on that. But they tend to fluctuate just to get the best team and squad on the pitch. And then other than that, it's in some cases in the business of card creation, it's just getting quality photos for all the players. Not every nation in this league gets the same amount of coverage as US and England and Germany and some of the top squads in the FIFA World Rankings. So some of the newer nations, we had to wait till a little bit towards the end to get these official photo shoots in to get really the quality of photo that we want to hand out to our match day fans and users. Those are probably the top three I can think of.
Yes, I mean, and even those on their own sound like a big enough challenge. Interesting you mentioned about the positions as well, because there's a player who plays for England called, I think she's called Rachel Daly,
hmm
and she was the top scorer in the WSL last season. But I think up until maybe last summer, she'd always played at left back for England. and then all of a sudden she's just like, now she's the most prolific striker in the country. So yeah, I feel the uncertainty there, and big kudos to you for getting that sorted.
Well, I guarantee that somebody in the community will find what I got wrong, but nonetheless, they will have played that position at least one point this year.
Yes, absolutely, yeah, and it's always difficult to nail it down. Joanne, I think did you want to?
Yeah, actually, it was great that you just mentioned the community, because so far we're getting a lot of buzz around the cards, and a lot of users have been asking about them, and also the feedback is great. I know for a fact that also some players have seen their own card. How does it feel for you as a creator of those to see that this is well received, that there's some hype around these, and that even players have seen it and like the cards that you've been creating?
I mean, I love it. I love the fact that the buzz. I mean, there's always buzz around World Cups. I love the fact that the women's game in particular is growing, year over year, and certainly World Cup over World Cup is incredibly exciting. But to hear, we heard one yesterday on our team call. The captain of the Philippines is really excited to see her card, and
That's amazing.
know that, like, there's not a lot of video games that feature Filipino players right now, so it's pretty exciting to hear that. And I've had the luxury of when the U.S. women's team was in town in Austin to be able to show them, some of their cards in advance. So that part is very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely, really, really cool. The reaction to that. We've had some some retweets and stuff off players who've been, I think, quite fond of their cards. So that's pretty cool as well. And so with these with the cards that we've been releasing so far, it has been, I think, a bit of a case of like you said, you mentioned with the confirmation of the squads and getting the photos. So it's been a bit of a staggered release, where we've had some countries complete and others we haven't. We have taken a little bit longer. But I guess as time is going on, we can expect the users will be able to see like more varieties of the countries and the players that will be available.
Yeah, we are releasing new cards every day at this point. I think by the end of this month, at least for the cards that you would get as you sign up as a user or in your common packs, we should have really almost every player.
Nice.
In what we call the common cards. And then we're starting to also begin the releases of our other card rarities, which are the limited edition, the rare edition, and the legendary edition, which are very serialized numbers, and so that's a very small amount of cards in the marketplace. Those are starting to roll out as well. So before the World Cup is over, hopefully before we get to the knockout stages, we'll have a lot of those available to the fan base.
Nice. Yes. Watch this space, guys, and keep collecting.
Definitely. Talking about collecting, I think Jeff might be the most prolific collector of Matchday cards. I think, if not the most, I definitely at the very, very top. Have you added any Women World Cup cards to your own Matchday collection? And which is the one that you are more fond of?
So I have my eye on a few. I haven't yet clicked the button. I'm waiting for a select few players on my own team I follow, which is obviously the US, to go. But I will say here, I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. Now I'm going to tell everyone they're going to go look at the cards I'm looking for. There's a one I have my eye on. So in the Matchday marketplace, there's two areas, right? Yeah. So there's the shopping area, which is where you can go in and use your Matchday coins to actually look and see. Well, there's two ways that you can look and see a couple of featured players every day. So I go to Matchday every day and collect my free coins, which is great. Nice. I can use for later. And then I look to see who's available. So there's a carousel of 5 players that I'll get all times that you can actually see, hey, I know I'm going to get this card. Like, so for example, today, if you log in, you can see from Denmark, Sophie Svava, and you can see an elite from New Zealand. If you have enough Matchday coins or you want to buy your Matchday coins, you can go get those right away. So I check there. You can go and buy packs of cards and roll the dice there a little bit to see which cards you're going to get. And then obviously there's a trade section of the marketplace that you can go in and look for cards as well. And so, I mean, God, I'm really telling you how I do. I get a cup of coffee and I do this in the morning.
Nice.
I go in and you can use the filters on the trade to go in and it starts searching by edition. So I go in and select the Women's World Cup edition, and then depending if I'm looking for a specific, player or team, I can filter down into nations. But what I have my eye on right now is Kumagai Saki for Japan. She's rated an 86,
Oh, nice.
and I could use a little help on my defensive line. So have my eye on her.
I love the amount of effort and analysis this is going. This feels like a mixture of getting up and checking the stock market mixed with being like a genuine football manager and just like
Yeah.
analyzing it. It's amazing. I don't know anyone who has this kind of level of analysis on it. So that's what I think you're unique in that regard. Very, very impressive there, Jeff.
And I think I mentioned this last time. Matchday employees don't get any
Yes,
break
you should
whatsoever
mention.
on cards. As a matter of fact, I'm not allowed to sell anything that I buy. I just love doing it. I think it's super fun, and the World Cup has been like it is for everyone. For me, it's a chance to see a lot of players that I don't normally see, and see a lot of talent across the world that maybe I didn't know the player until I started, looking at these faces every day.
Yes, definitely. I mean, somebody commented on our Discord the other day about how it can get quite addictive, like when like the wanting to collect more cards, and like when you see a brand new release like this of some players, like you said, that you might not get to see very often, you're like, I want them in my team. I want to add them to my squad, and just seeing so many different countries represented, it's a very cool thing. And following on from that, so this is if including the men's tournament last year, this is Matchday's second World Cup tournament. How cool is it that you can already see, Matchday's still a very young company, but we've already had like the biggest tournament representing the cards for both male and female athletes already. How cool is that? To have been involved like something like that from your side.
It's incredibly awesome. The timing is great for us as a young company, and I mean, it really is the biggest sporting event in the world, right? And to get back to back men's and women's within our first 9 months of existence as a company has been incredibly exciting. In particular, the fact that we're so driven to make sure that the women's game is on the same level as the men's. A perfect opportunity to really balance out the number of players or as much as we can into the game, to let the users pick their squads and enjoy all the players from all nations and both genders.
Definitely. And just I think, like you said there, because I think this is the first Women's World Cup where they've had, or it might have been like not only recently that they had 32 teams, so it's the same number of teams as the men's now. And the fact that so many players, both men's and women's, are being represented by Matchday, it's a really, really cool thing. We're just getting started here as well. There's a lot more to come. Joanne, I think you had the next one you wanted to ask.
Yeah, just a quick comment. Like first, Jeff know his stuff with Saki Kumagai, world champion already in 2011 with Japan. Pretty impressive. I was just confirming because she was super young, but she was on the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm not gonna go on this Saki Kumagai fun facts, but I wanted to talk a bit about design because he's done a great job of integrating like the FIFA branding for the game, branding for the tournament that really complies this vibrancy of the tournament and add all these elements native from Australia and New Zealand that are super cool. What's your opinion about the design and how did you manage to integrate it so well into the cards?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's super exciting. Obviously, with Australia and New Zealand being the host countries, taking some of the indigenous peoples, the design elements into the cards. We're obviously relying very heavily on FIFA's brand guidelines, but the art team here at Matchday, I think, did a wonderful job of creating these borders that really celebrate not only the tournament but really all the colors, like even on the logo itself for the tournament with the soccer ball and all the 32 little squares of color. It really does, celebrate both, the diversity of all the nations around, participating in the tournament, but the different countries and everything. I think the colors are super fun, and I think it's sort of, in my opinion, it inspired us to think, what can we do with different, card editions and sets moving forward, just to make it exciting, because I think it's super fun.
Definitely. I think that's the key word I was going to say there, is when you see the cards, you think fun. They're very bright, they're very vibrant, they're very atmospheric, which is a very cool thing. And obviously, we love all our matchday cards. We love every single one of them like they were a child. But when you see these sort of limited edition sets, like the Men's World Cup last year and the Women's World Cup this year, as a collector, do you get like a bit more of a buzz off these sort of special limited edition ones? Because obviously, we really like all the other ones, but these are like, the historic ones that'll kind of stand in time, like sort of, you could get a player in this set who scores the winning goal in the World Cup final and has like set a memory forever.
Yeah, I think in the collection game, rarity is it, right? So a tournament that comes around every 4 years, and then certain players that are stars in the moment for their teams, and then even beyond that, as you start to get into the different rarities that we have within our card sets alone. But as you're trying to move from your common cards to your limited to rare to the legendary, there's only 10 of one player for a legendary World Cup card. So to get your hands on that, I think is, to me, it's part of the fun of being a card collector.
Absolutely, yeah. So make sure you keep looking for those ones, guys. Keep collecting them.
Yeah. Also, maybe a good time to collect it is early morning. That I think that it's been the times where you have had to watch some of the games of this World Cup. Does the time difference allow you to enjoy it so far, and how are you managing it?
I do. So I try to, luckily, it's to some degree after hours here, although it seems like we're always working around the clock right now to get all these cards out the door. But it's fun to me to watch a game before I go to bed at night, and then certainly first thing in the morning, I'm checking scores and seeing which DVR version of the game I'm going to watch first as I'm playing. So I don't want to give anything away that it's happening, but I saw China got a win today in the table. So yeah, so I'm following along in watching the games, and I know that we're not quite through 2 games through all the group stages yet, but it's fun to start speculating which teams are going to make to the knockout.
You still think that the USA are favourites to win it? Because I know there was I saw a story where it said like, oh, the USA are faltering, and it's like, not really. They drew a game. I feel like just because they're normally winning every game, it's like as soon as they draw one game, it's like, oh no, it's the end of the world. This team's falling apart.
Yes, we drew a game to one of the top 5 nations in the FIFA World Rankings with a very talented group with Jill Roord and Van de Donk. So, I mean, a great matchup. Anything's possible. I still feel confident in the U.S., but if you're not paying attention to Germany and Spain and Brazil, then watch out. There's been some prolific scoring so far, and but super exciting to watch. Joanna, how are you liking Spain at the moment?
Oh, I mean, I'm really pumped for the final matchup of the group stage against Japan, because basically it's a battle for the first spot. Actually, by scoring one more goal than them against Zambia and Costa Rica, just with a draw we have enough. But it's been great. It's just like the US used to have a lot of advantage, I think, just because like the best league is there and the best players come from there. But now Spain, for example, it's a struggle to choose 11 players and leave some like players that would be stars in almost every other team on the bench. So I'm really excited to see how they continue matching up. And I really, really enjoyed as well watching teams that haven't been so lucky, like I don't know, Ireland, for example, that are playing great, even though they didn't win like first time teams. They're like Philippines that got a win. That was pretty impressive. It's been an awesome tournament so far.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's expanded to 32, and I'm going to list them just because I think it's exciting. We've got Haiti, Ireland, Morocco, Panama, Philippines, Portugal, Vietnam, Zambia. Well, not Portugal. First time, teams in the tournament. So the exposure, the experience that the U.S. have had in Japan and others like that is certainly to their benefit. But it's great to see all of these nations getting World Cup caps under their belt, and also start to get to see some of the the investment that FIFA is making to pay some of these women better than they ever have before as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's great that it's growing as much as I saw. I think when Haiti played England, they said Haiti were obviously they were very unlucky not to at least draw, but they said I think Haiti had no players in their squad who were over the age of 26. So like even to come, as inexperienced as in the tournament and just age wise, and then put up a performance like they did was amazing. And you saw how much it meant to the Philippines to win their first game. It's just it's really I think that's the beautiful thing about the World Cup is it just means so much to so many people. And it's great for us to be a part of that and represent those countries. I know I didn't. I mean, we without giving too much away, we did pre-prepare some of these questions for Jeff just so he was not blindsided while what we ask him. But this is one that wasn't on there, Jeff. I was just going to ask you if there's any, and you spoke a bit about it there. If there was any specific, like, what's been your most magic moment of the World Cup so far, and is there like a player or any specific players who've really sort of impressed you so far?
Well, as a US fan, I think the moment for me was probably, the whole setup between Lindsey Horan being, fouled and as the new captain since Sauerbrann's been out, trying to lead the team to come back to a goal against Netherlands in this last game, and then basically shouting at her club teammate Van de Donk, and then scoring a header to tie it and move on, and then to see them after the game hugging each other like they're best friends again. That to me, it's a fun little story. But I'm excited to see sort of how the U.S. team hopefully rides on Horan's and Morgan and as co-captains of the U.S. team into it. But to me, that's great. But other than that, just watching Gini Hermosa score and Spain put on goals, all those are super fun for me. And players like this card's available right now in the trade marketplace too. Like Casey Fair for Korea got in the last minutes. I think she turned 16 like 20 days ago. Youngest player in World Cup history.
That was crazy.
So there's fun stories everywhere. And the amount of young players, maybe a little bit different than the men's side of getting their chances in World Cup play is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is amazing. But I have sometimes this thing that happens in the Olympics as well, that when someone who's like 16 years old does that, just makes me think they've achieved more in their life than I ever will, and they're half my age.
Well, let me ask you guys the same question. What's your favorite moment so far, Joan?
I was about to shift it and go around the table, if you allow me, because I wanted to, the three of us are from countries that are clearly contenders. US, England, and Spain. I would like to go around the table and that you choose like a champion for the tournament and who do you think will be the MVP before we close it. I think that might be fun. Yeah, we can start with you, Jeff, if you want.
Well, I'm going to stick to my early prediction and say that US is still a favorite. I think Sophia Smith is well on her way as a young player to potentially be an MVP. If I'm not going purely as a homer to my own squad, then I would say Germany and Pop are probably my next favorite to move on.
Pop always shows up in international duty. Always. You said you will not be a homer. I'll be a homer, and I'll say Spain. You can mock me, Sean, with Homer chant, but I think it's gonna be Spain. I think it's gonna be like the confirmation of Alexia being back to her to a stage of her own, to a tier of her own, better said, taking MVP, and alternatively Aitana Bonmati, which is like a very, very, very close second for my favorite player in the world. Now, Sean, you have to close it with the lionesses.
I'm just gonna very sorry, I don't know how that got in here. I'm just gonna very quickly say on Jeff's point about like the most magic moments so far. I don't know if you guys, I think it was Bias Anareto scored it, but Brazil's goal against Panama, where there was a back heel assist at the end of it, was just incredible. It was a ridiculous goal, and it was like pure Brazil at a World Cup. It was like, this is what Brazil are all about. That was my magic moment so far. I think in terms of winning the tournament, I want to say England, but I think so far we've been quite slow, and we've got, I think Kira Walsh got quite a bad injury today against Denmark, which might rule her out. So I think
it's going to be tough without her. It's going to be really tough.
I think we'll go quite far in, but I don't think we'll win it, and I'm actually going to do the ultimate no-go thing of an English person and say I think that Germany are going to win it. As hard as that is to say, I think they were very good at the Euros when England beat them in the final, and they obviously were amazing in the opening game against Morocco. But in terms of an MVP, I am going to go for Lioness, which is Lauren James, who scored today. She is ridiculous. She is an amazing player. I remember when she was playing for Manchester United and she was 16, she was the best player on the pitch every game. She's just so good at dribbling, and she scored an amazing goal today. And I think that this is going to be like her. They said on the coverage today, every tournament there's someone who announces themselves, and I think that's going to be her. That's going to be her at this tournament, because I think I'm telling you now, she's going to win the Ballon d'Or one day. She's incredible. So yeah, she better do well now, or I'm going to look stupid.
You heard it here first.
Yes. Don't try and act surprised when it happens. Yes. Okay then. Well, there you go. We've had it here. You now know who's going to win the World Cup. So if one of us gets it right, then make sure you give us a shout. And if we're wrong, please make sure you mock us intensely, because we're putting it all on the line here. But I think that's everything I had to ask today, Jeff, unless Joanne, I don't know if you had, you had that very nice ending there. I think that was quite a good place to leave it.
Thank you, Sean. I needed to hear that today. No, just really wanted to thank Jeff for his time. It was super insightful. Really, really cool always to have you on. And thanks so much, Sean. You're the best host possible.
You guys are very welcome. Look forward to seeing you on the chats, and we root for our teams to finish out the World Cup.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us. It's always great to have you on. As always, even not just for the match day and the cards perspective, to get your take on the football as well. It's always really great to hear from you. And as much as I can until they come up against England, I'll be rooting for the USA and Spain. But yeah, it was awesome having you here. So big thank you for joining us. Thank you to the listeners, and we'll see you on the next one. So cheers, guys. Bye for now.